Hey gang, a couple of you guys have been asking me about the stick, mobility stick I've been talking about. A couple of you have bought one and have been asking for an exercise video just to show a couple of things that you guys can do at home or you can do on the golf course, just sort of in prep before you go out and play. If you watch this video and you do want one of these, they can be bought at stickmobility.com. And if you want, there's a coupon code. If you use Edwards Golf, capital E, capital G, one word, you can get a little bit of a discount on it too. So here's how we're going to start. I want to try and work a little bit on the lats, a little bit on the shoulders, and then we'll kind of work down to lower body from here. So the first thing you're going to do, we'll throw the left hand towards the top, not on the absolute top, but the top of the grip. Right hand's going to fall below that. Getting into a golf posture, same width stance. You're going to sit the hips back, arms are going to come overhead. And when we're here, I really want you to try and think about reaching the arms away from you and reaching the hips back behind you, and really try and get as good a stretch as we can through the lats here. Everything we do will be exaggerated, accentuated with breathing, so if you can take some nice big deep breaths in and nice big exhales, we can end up with a little bit more movement at end ranges. So just feeling out how it feels here. You can kind of wiggle around, reach a little bit further towards your left, reach a little bit further towards your right, and just play with position there. Then we're going to switch. You're going to put the right hand on top. Exact same thing, golf posture, reaching this thing out away from you, pushing away, and just sort of wiggling into those really tight little corners where things feel kind of sticky or a little bit more restricted. Okay, we're going to go back to left hand on top. We'll switch it up. So left hand on top, I'll face you so you guys can see. I want you to put this just inside your right foot. So stick inside right foot, left hand's on top, and we're just going to start to come across here. As you come across, I want you to think about that left shoulder getting down towards the ball, just as you would in a backswing. Really focusing on keeping the elbow straight, reaching across, trying to dip the shoulder down. At the same time, I want you to see this hip is trying to move back and away from where the ball would be. So we're really getting a nice deep turn, big turn through the thoracic spine so that the chest is away from our target. Same thing, nice big deep breaths here. I'm really leaning pretty hard on this stick. I'm trying pretty hard to pull my shoulder down towards the floor. And same thing, nice big deep breaths hanging out there. Then you're going to switch the stick towards your left foot. Right hand's going to find its way to the top. Now we're getting a little bit closer to an impact position. We're trying to get the chest towards the target. And as we're here, we're taking nice big deep breaths again. Nice. All right, now we're going to try and work a little bit more into our hips. So what I'm going to have you do is stagger your stance. So I want the right foot to be in front of the left. I want most of the weight to be on the right foot as we're trying to target the right hip. So that means I'm going to come a little bit up on my toes on the left. If this feels unstable for you, rather than being really in line and really tight, I want you to try and get a wider stance. So as I set up here in this split stance, I'm going to put the stick just inside my big toe. My left hand's going to be on the top. And from here, I'm going to go in the exact same position we were just in, sitting the hip back and down, trying to get my left shoulder towards the ball. And from here, I'm feeling it all the way up side of my glute. And also might be getting a little bit of thoracic spine here in my back and a little bit of posterior shoulder, just exaggerating that turn away. And after 5 breaths, you're going to do the exact same thing, but the other way around. So now my left foot is forward. I'm up on my right toe. Most of my weight is on my left foot, and now my right hand is here. So this is going to feel more like going towards almost an impact or a finish. As I stand over that left leg, turn to drop the right shoulder, I'm getting down to my impact position, coming down to the ball. That right hand is nice and high. Now I'm feeling the back of my shoulder, and especially trying to get into this left hip as much as possible. And any of these where you're starting to feel in the hip, if you know your hip is stiff, we can sort of bias it and make it a little bit harder so we can try and get a little bit better mobilization. And what you want to do for that is If you can see my left foot, my toe is pointed straight ahead at you as I turn here. If I want to make it feel a little tighter and work that a little better, I can go into internal rotation, that sort of pigeon-toed position. So if I turn that toe in now and I start to rotate, I really feel it in my hip a lot sooner. It feels a lot tighter. So just working into that again, trying to find all the really tight spots. Don't be afraid to kind of shift around and see if different arm angles makes any bit of a difference here. Definitely working both sides of that is going to be really important for you guys with tight hips. The other one I really like is getting into a much wider stance, exaggerated, much wider than a golf stance. You're going to put this inside your foot. In this case, I'm putting it inside my right foot. I'm going to have my right hand on the top. And then to get here, I'm going to have to really dive down towards that foot. So I'm going to try and get my left hand to my right foot. And as I bend over here, I'm turning my chest back away from the target. And I'm really trying to turn myself to try and get my chest to turn. I'm pushing down with my top hand. I'm pulling in towards me with my bottom hand and taking some deep breaths here. And as I come out of that, I stand back up again. When I do the other side here, I want you to see how much my hips move back and away. The same as if you're someone who has a tendency to really early extend at the ball as you're coming down to impact. I want you to get used to sitting back into that hip as much as you possibly can. So as I put that stick at my left foot, I want you to see how far my hip now goes backwards as I reach for the floor. That's a position that for some people it feels really foreign to sit that far back. But that's really what you want to do is you try and get to that impact position. So again, left hand on top inside my left foot. I reach my right hand down towards the floor. As I'm pushing down with my left hand to try and turn my shoulders to the target, I'm also pulling myself with my right to get that little bit of extra rotation. Yeah, as you come out of that, the very last thing I want to do is probably my favorite thing about this product. A lot of people don't realize how much side bend actually occurs in golf, not just at the hip, but also just through the thoracic spine up top. So the nice thing that this stick allows me to do is kind of push and pull off something at the same time. So as I put it next to my right side here, I'm going to put my left hand on top. So I'm basically reaching over my head, trying to keep everything in the same frontal plane here. I'm going to take my right hand, put it in the center, just about hip height. I'm going to push that away from me. And what that does is actually pulls my arm over the top of the stick. So now I can really feel a huge, huge stretch up the side of my body here. So now what this really simulates right now with my left hand at the top is very much that impact position as I'm trying to get as much side bend to get down to the ball as possible. So again, outside my right foot, pushing away from me, taking some nice big deep breaths here. Try and not just do it with your hip. Try and really let that arm come over the top. I see a lot of people try and bend this elbow. Just let the arm go. Just be relaxed. As you switch to the other side, put it outside my left foot. My right hand goes on the very top. Left hand goes right in the center of the thing, right at my hip height, and I can push away. What I want you guys to feel is really all down the side here. If you don't feel it and you need more, you can kind of wiggle the feet around and just sort of play with where the hip rotation is here. But I really want it to all stay within this plane so it's really a pure side bend. Not something like this or where it's out here. So really all in that same plane. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's just a couple of things you can do with this stick mobility stick. They have a ton of videos on YouTube. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll be putting out a couple of my own. If you guys need anything golf performance-wise, give me a call or shoot me an email at edwardsgolfperformance@gmail.com.